Habaragani, everyone. Habaragani. Habaragani. It's an honor, it's a pleasure to stand before you. Can I say cuckoo? Can I say like an African? Cuckoo. No, that's not African enough. Cuckoo. That's way better. All right, so that last rhythm we just played is called Cuckoo. Is in honor of the farmers. It's actually in honor, if we're talking about Kwanzaa being first fruits, we're talking about a rhythm that's literally played at the end of the year right now in Guinea and Mali and Senegal, but especially in Guinea where this rhythm is from. Right now, there are people who are playing this rhythm in honor of Kwanzaa, even though they're not necessarily lighting candles and celebrating the 7 principles we have here. They're celebrating the idea of first fruits. They're dealing with agriculture right now. Most of the year they spent farming to celebrate for the holiday with their family. So I felt like that rhythm was very appropriate, you know. So y'all ready to hear some more drumming? All right, ready to hear some more dancing? The dancers ain't came out here yet. Okay, they ain't came out here yet. All right, but we can get ready to get them to come out here. So can I share a little fact with y'all before they come out? So I was on Google yesterday and I did a little research, and so hopefully these are the actual numbers. But I researched yesterday that there are almost 40 million African Americans in America, 40 million plus. From my understanding, I think there were 400,000 who were brought abroad, something like that, right? The numbers may not be completely accurate. So I came to a conclusion yesterday. If there are 400 million people, if there are 40 million African Americans in this country, scarcity and poverty will end in the Black neighborhood if we share a dollar with one another. Okay, I'm gonna say it again. If we share a dollar at 40 million, 40 million, that's a lot of money. If we share a dollar with one another, 4 quarters, 100 pennies, all right? If we share a dollar with one another, poverty and scarcity will end in the Black community indefinitely. Indefinitely, right? Everyone familiar with what they call the susu? Some of y'all, I'm sure, some people know, I'm sure. All right, so our Senegalese brothers do it very well. They come over here, they share $100 with each other, and they make African hair braid stores. True life, that's what they do, right? And they share thousands with one another. So we talk about 40 million. It's 40 million of us plus. There's 800,000 of us in this city alone. So none of us should go without. Kwanzaa should be the bomb next year. Something to think about. Something to think about. All right. Was it time to light the candles? It's definitely time to light the candles. All right.
Kabarigani. Before I begin, I ask permission from my elders. Kwanzaa. So good evening and happy Kwanzaa to you all. My name is Camille Jackson with the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. So Kwanzaa is a 56-year-old cultural holiday created and sustained for the purpose of our Black African cultural reaffirmation. Occurring annually from December 26th to January 1st, Kwanzaa is a time of community and of self-reflection. It's first celebrated by cultural nationalists who wish to express their Pan-African solidarity. Yet as word of the holiday and its family strengthening virtue spread, more and more Black people began to celebrate these 7 nights of reflection. Today, over 13 million people of all political leanings and walks of life celebrate the holiday, making it one of the fastest growing in the world. 7 days of Kwanzaa represent the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles. Each day of the week-long festival is used to celebrate one of the building blocks of self-awareness. Yesterday, we celebrated Umoja, representing unity or the Black center. And today we celebrate Kujichagulia, or self-determination, represented by the red candle. The Malcolm X Grassroots Movement has always hosted the second day of Kwanzaa in our respective chapters in our various cities, because self-determination, the ability and the right to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves is at the core of our values. So much thanks for you all coming out tonight, and we hope you enjoy the rest of our program.
Give those drummers some more love. Habargani. Habargani. Say it like you mean it for me. Habargani. I only touched the mic because I just felt it in my soul to just speak for a moment, because as we have gone along, the elders have passed on, and one that was deeply related to the Malcolm X grassroots movement and this naming ceremony was Queen Mother Oshundara. Ashe, we call your name. We call your name. You will not forget. And the reason I took the mic is because she's been all over my spirit as we have moved towards Kujitakalea with Malcolm X grassroots movement. For those of you who may or may not know, on the east side, I have a small resale store. And because of the love of her family, I have been blessed with a lot of the items that came from her home. So that as I open up in the spring, I invite you over to come and marvel and come and buy some of her beautiful artwork that was entrusted to me by the family. But Iyal Oshundara is never forgotten. As a matter of fact, when she did the ceremony, all the time she had the drummers play a rhythm for her, and she would come up and she would do her dance, and she would not come until Sawanda and the drummers started to play. Is that right, gentlemen? I said, yes. And when she came, she'd always say to me, Kihimba, I want you to go out there and introduce me, because they need to understand my whole title, my whole name.
Yep.
Yes. She was very particular about that. So what I have come to say to the people who are receiving names, take them on with the grace and the honor that they are given to you. Each and every one of your names holds a special place. People often ask me about my name, which was given to me by King Sudiata. Kihimba Dijanaba was given by King Sudiata. We call your name, Baba. And as I moved along and had my head made, I was given a spiritual name, Oshuniyi, which Queen Mother always referred to me as Oshuniyi. She would whisper, Oshuniyi, come and do. Oshuniyi means the one who pulls the strings together, pull it together and bring it together. But as I have moved along, I have been given other names and other titles, and I carry them all deeply. And as I have grown and as I have learned, I have found a way to fulfill the prophecy of all the names that were given to me. But when I go home, my aunts and my mom's sisters, because my sister, Murder's Joyce, we call your name Mama, has passed on. My sister, her sisters and my family go, Latanya, you hear us calling you. Very few of them call me Kihimba. They'll forget, or they'll say Latanya, and I may not move, and they'll be like, you hear me talking to you, girl. So I acknowledge that too, because that was God-given through my parents and through their understanding. But as I grew, as I evolved, as I came back to who I was, as I embraced my Kujichakalea, Kihimba, and lately it was added, Empress was one of those titles that was added to Kihimba. I try to hold those threads together. I try to uplift that so that if you see me out, I am walking and acting and teaching and talking like an African woman, because I am a woman who Africa was born in me. So I am an African woman. So I thank you for your patience. But those of you who are coming to get these beautiful names, embrace them, love on them, study them, and be all that you can be as an African queen or king. I show you.
All right, give her some more love. And, I don't know if that was introduced to you, but Mama Kahimba, and her son Sawande, who's on stage. And they're from the Great Umwali Cultural Society, and Sawande's dad, Sundiata King, Sundiata Keita. You all need to know that they were one of the first organizations that brought African drum and dance to Detroit. I know there were others like the Ashanti drummers and dancers. Can't forget them. There was also Amun Ra. We definitely won't forget them. But no way are we going to forget King Sundiata Kahimba. And the Cultural Society. Give them a big round of applause. So we're ready for this special moment. People are going to get African names. In the Republic of New Africa, our brother Chokwe Lumumba and Judge Adam Shakur actually created a name change affidavit, where after our naming ceremonies, people would fill out these affidavits, and then they would file them in court, and then legally their name would be changed. We no longer are doing that, but when the brother gives you your name, you definitely can go to probate court and get your name, okay? But for right now, today is symbolic. It's symbolic and it's special, and we hope that you will love your name. I've had my name Shoshana since I was 14. Itari's older than me, so she has her name a year longer. Dr. Mario Daly gave us our names. So I'm going to turn it over to Brother Kim. Give him some love, y'all.
May I ask permission for my elders to speak? Abarigani. 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 Free the land. Yes, by any means necessary. My name is Kemba Agulu, a member of the Malcolm X grassroots movement here in Detroit. And next, like Mama Shoshana said, we are going to have our naming ceremony, which has been an important part of the Malcolm X grassroots movement, Kwanzaa celebration, the Republic of New Africa's Kwanzaa celebration for many years. And as a key mark, especially the Kujichagulia celebration, and as a key mark of Kujichagulia in action, right? Being able to name ourselves, to speak for ourselves, to determine our own destiny. And one thing about African names is if you have an African name, it ties into purpose. And next, we're going to have the Honorable Rabba Dr. Ifekolade Obafemi from the Yoruba tradition. And if you know anything about Yoruba names, it's tied into your destiny. You know, before the ancestors, before the Orisha, and it helps us along our path, along our journey in life. So I know we had a few people that wanted to get an African name today. Like my mom Shoshana said, you don't have to. This is more ceremonial, but this name is going to go with you and travel with you for, you know, the rest of your life, right? And today is a special day as we come together as a community to celebrate Kwanzaa. So I know we had one person or 2, 3 people. Okay. All right. If you all can come up to the stage here, I'm gonna give them a hand and introduce Baba here. Actually, I can actually just stand, Baba. You want them to stand right in front? Okay. And just to give you a little background, a little history of Dr. Ifa. Dr. Obafemi is the founder of Ile Ifa International and the Yoruba American Theological Arts Ministry. He is also an educator, a lecturer, and Shango priest, fine artist, and author of Babalawo, Alagba Egbe Egungu. So, yes, Baba, if you will come up, and then we'll be assisting him in this ceremony. Okay.
It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here. I'm really grateful. I want to take them for everybody to have a moment of silence for those people who have passed, and your families and everybody, for your ancestors. Before we move forward any further, we want to take a moment of silence. Ashe. What a wonderful city and beautiful people who keep the tradition alive. The naming ceremony is so crucial. In Yoruba, we call it Esentaye. You know, it's called, and the Esentaye means the moment your feet touch the earth. You see, because that's when you receive your name. And for women, it's 7 days after they're born. And for men, it's 9 days after they're born. And it's generally done, part of it, you know, your mom and dad give you a name. You may pick a name for yourself, but it's the one that is revealed for you in the community, because we're part of community. See, we have responsibility not only to ourselves and to our families, but to our communities. So the name reflects all of that, what's happening in our community, our needs, our wants, our desires, and our desires and hopes for these people who are part of our community, and what they're going to add to our community to help us to be prosperous. So we take this, naming is very serious. How do we select the name? A name is generally done by your priest, and he consults the oracle. The oracle is called Ifa. Ifa is the god of knowledge and wisdom and divination. And it is the holder of all the African culture. So I'm gonna ask the first person to come up. And we're gonna say a little prayer to open up for you and select her name. your prayers and dreams be answered. Cada toda bom e dando agora de motivo Isani ao em dele Renio Fokio Makobi Siwadi upon Alino upon Numo si Ari non uponita Ukwele Ugalode Oke Ara Taji Mafile Kwegi Mafigi Kwele Maflolo Bobuti Nisi é a companhia, daqui para he then select the name for, via Fumboboire, we ask for only peace and blessings. We ask for all praise and offering. We ask the word of God not be undone. We ask you bless all happiness, peace, prosperity, love, all the blessings in this world and the next for us, our families, and our loved ones. We ask you make us exceedingly successful and love beyond our wildest dreams. And we ask you grant us victory over our enemies and remove all negativity and witchcraft. Yeah, go from me. Bobo Rishi, Bobo Rumble, Bobo. Again, what have you done now? Ika Otura points. Remember that. Ika Otura points. Separate one each one. Take them up. Separate one each one. Don't show it to me. Take them up. Separate one each one. Just like the game we used to play when we were kids, man. Over share two of them. Right hand. So it says that your heterisha is all shown, right? So what this means is that Oshun is the goddess of love, of femininity, of all things concerning women. She loves flowers and perfume and all the things that have to do with love. See? It's more about the rules of love. Some people say, well, she is love, but it's more about the rules of love, the things you have to do to maintain and acquire love. See? So, but Ifa is saying that the more you learn about Oshun, the more you learn about yourself. Right. Before I say this, your name is Oshun Goyin. So it means Oshun is sweet as honey. Amen. And the more you learn about Oshun, the more you learn about yourself to fulfill your destiny. Amen. Ashe, Ashe. Get you a cleansing. And now we're doing cleansing for Obalue. Obalue is the god of the earth. We recognize him at this time of year because it's the end of the harvest. And so we're grateful for all the fruits of our labor. The year's coming to a close. We want to give thanks for all the things that we received this year and move forward into the next year with blessing and being cleansed and all of that. You probably, I don't know, some of you may remember the Lucy show, Desi Arnaz, he was singing Babalu. That's Babalu, that's who he was talking about. It's the God of the next person. Now sometimes you can look at a person and pretty much tell them for what they are, what they look like, and pretty much know about the person. But sometimes it's hidden. You know, their destiny is buried deep. You know, she's masking, she's cloaking. I can't see. You know, I don't know what's going on. So then I have to investigate and find out what's going on with the person because she's not who she appears to be at first sight. You know, like you can't judge a book by the cover. So sometimes you have to investigate. So let's see, where we are is you'll hear the issues, you'll go out of school. So, it says, you know, there's two, that means to break up. So, there's someone in the family, maybe in the family, who needs to cut. So she's not sure. And then, about who I is a very rare. So you really have to dig to find information. So, but it's a wonderful journey because the more you learn about it, the more you learn about what all the little quirkiness things that you may have wondered about, it'll be there. And not only that, but your whole life story. It has already been written. If you want to know that much, you can find it. But it's fun to know all of it. Yes. Like that. So, Yay Tunde, the great woman returns. It's so important that, I mean, this is such a wonderful thing that the community sees this. You know, you get to know who the person is, and we all have wishes for her to develop and become all that she can be. And the universe is telling you what is the highest goal for you. So all you have to do is go and find out because, you know, nobody's just gonna give you this. If you don't ask for it, they're not gonna give it to you. They're not gonna tell you. And they're not gonna tell you how to improve your life. You have to do that. says your name is Orion. So everybody, his head reach this Shango Kawakami, you see? And his name is Orion. So Shango Kawakami is the god of kings, the god of money, right? Wealth, big wealth. Right? Shango is inspiration, and he's the diplomat. He is the messenger for the king. So as his name goes, and he sends, carries a message for the king to the next person that he's carrying the message to, whatever his name is going to tell the person that he's sending them to how the king feels. So if this poor young man, he's got a good head, they're saying that this man is an intelligent, smart person who can figure things out very well. You see, it's the message within the name. The things that we desire for this person. You see? And that the community comes together and helps. As you know, the next step is initiation, like rites of passage. If you had a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, so the next rite for him may be initiation of Shango. Or he seems like a young man, it might be entrance into men's society, you see? Or something that all of these societies that help, maybe it's the Ancestral Society. And these things help the community. And as we build it, it grows. That is a very short ceremony. Thank you very much.
And I know a couple more people wanted names, and then Baba, if it's okay with you, are gracious enough to perform in the back, if that's okay. Okay. So I think it was one sister, then somebody else. Okay, which is just for the sake of time, we'll just do the two people, and then we'll assist you. We'll assist you in the back. But yes, give it up for show your love again for Baba Rafini again in their naming ceremony. And now we're going to have another.
Okay, we're gonna have another performance by Omawali Cultural Society. Give them a hand.
Nundiana, Amnivalia, Nundiana, Amnivalia, Valeo, Valeo, Valeo.
vagina, which means to ignite, to set something on fire. So, vagina, because Baba Michael and Imhotep is coming to light your fire. This mind ready, ladies? Are you ready?
All right, give him another hand, big hand, please. All right, we're gonna have an auction now with Brother Kwesi Akamu. If anybody doesn't know, Dr. Batula Shakur was just recently released from prison. He was in jail for 36 years, and we recently got him out after all the hard work. Now we need to provide some finances for him to readjust to the life he's at with his family. So we're going to have an auction, and it's going to be conducted by Brother Kwesi. Let's give him a hand.
Free the land. Free the land. Free the land by any means necessary. Thank you all for attending this night of Kujijakalia for Kwanzaa over here at King Solomon Baptist Church, the historic King Solomon Baptist Church. You know, we're going to do an auction for Mutulu Shakur, who's locked up, who's a member of, a citizen of, should I say, the Republic of New Africa. He was an activist in a struggle for many years. Some of his most notable years were the years when he used acupuncture to heal drug addicts, or to help cure them when they were feeding, you know, when the government institutions were feeding drugs, methadone, to the drug addicts. He was using acupuncture to heal them. And he was very successful in doing so. He was doing that work for many years and was very successful. And the program expanded and began to train others in acupuncture, you know, others in the Puerto Rican community as well. And they had a health issue. This is in New York City. And they closed, they achieved funding, got funding for this program, was so successful that I guess this at the height of the heroin epidemic in the country. There was a lot of heroin going on in communities and people was overdosing drugs, and therefore it was an urgent need from the community to begin to intervene. And if we know anything about Malcolm X, who spoke at this church as we spoke earlier, Nation of Islam and Malcolm X, they also did a lot of their work around drug addicts and trying to heal them from their addiction. Mutulu came in that tradition. As a citizen of the Republic of Africa, he was here in another historic church. Detroit, because a lot of young people, and like I did when I was younger, in my consciousness used to condemn, we get, start learning things about history and say Christianity, white man's religion. We forget that a huge part of our struggle was in the church. Mm-hmm. And some of our, most notable leaders organized from a place of Christianity, going all the way back to, before the end of slavery. David Walker used Christianity to scorn, American slavery. Nat Turner, who himself was enslaved, used the Bible to stir rebellion. So, we got to be careful when we condemn aspects of our history when we don't know it all. But Mutulu was at a church on Linwood. The name escaped me. New Bethel. I should just thought about the shootout, which I'm gonna tell y'all about. This is known as the New Bethel shootout. But they had a shootout at the very first New African Nation Day ceremony in 1969, March 1969. In March 1968, they had what you call the Black Government Conference here in Detroit, which was similar to some of the other Black Power conferences that were taking place around the country. And they had their first Nation Day afterwards in 1969 in the New Bethel Church. The police raided it. They had a shootout at this church. That church still have the doors with the bullet holes in it. They have a room where they keep memorabilia, historic memorabilia from that church. That was Reverend C.L. Franklin's church. They opened their doors to the community. Just like King Solomon Baptist Church. And keep it real now. Malcolm was a Muslim minister. He was a Muslim minister, a very militant, fiery Muslim minister. And Christian audiences, weren't, they used to fire and brimstone, but not that kind of revolutionary fire that Malcolm X brought. But some people, they wanted to hear Malcolm. And they opened their doors to him. New Bethel opened their doors to the Republic of New Africa. So we kind of, we got to look at our history and see all parts of it. But Mutulu was there in 1969 and was one of those who helped defend the 120-something people who were still there at the time, because the programs was over and people were departed. Like Gaidi Obadeli, who at that time was the president, had already left. So, the events was winding down, still over 100 people. Then the shootout commenced. They literally, police came in that church and began shooting at men, women, and children. The RNA's Black Legionnaires successfully repelled the police. It became a situation where they lost some officers on DPD, and we lost a couple people to the prison, and one of them was assassinated later by the police. But Mutulu is part of that tradition. He did 36 years in prison as a political prisoner of war. He just recently under what you call compassionate release. But I don't know what's compassionate about releasing somebody while they're on, in really, really dire health. And we talking about a healer who was experiencing very bad health. Just come home, you need everything. Don't die, Social Security. You don't have, another benefit. We know he's in dire health. He was a freedom fighter. You know, our young people be paying attention. We don't take care of freedom fighters. What's going to encourage them to step up to this, and be brave in the name of our people? Where's that next generation come from when they see how we treat our freedom fighters? We got to, stand up and speak up for them. And we still have a countless number of them that's incarcerated today. Mumia Abu Jamal is in dire health. He's incarcerated and need our attention urgently. But here tonight, we want to do this auction. We got a couple items. The first item is going to be this basket, contributed, donated by Brother Mamadou from the Jan Beads down in Greektown. It's a Rwandan basket with a lid, very well constructed, likely hand constructed. Nice snug lid. Has a price tag that's listed on it, says $150. But we're doing the auction. We're going to start the bids for this basket, which, I don't know, man, you can do a lot of things with this basket. This is about it. You know more history of Mama Time?
We're at Janae Deeds and Art in Greektown in the International Building, where we've been now since 1999. African import shop. We specialize in authentic African trade beads all the way back to the 10th century. And this beautiful hand woven basket is from Rwanda, East Africa. Okay, so come to your very own window to Africa.
And we want to begin bids. And we're going to do the bids by raising hand, but we're going to have a starting bid of $50. And for some of this quality, that's a steal. And just keep in mind that all the proceeds from this auction is going to a fundraiser that we are doing, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, and just a Detroit coalition in support of Mutulu Shakur. And we have a fundraiser we've had ongoing for several weeks now, trying to raise funds to contribute, to his, his return. He came out on December 15th. He's now with his family. He's still in dire health, have a lot of needs. We want to, let him know that, we there for him. So all these proceeds, if anybody want to bid, and think about it, we come back to it if you still want to deliberate and see what the other items are. All right, why is that $50? The price might go up in a while, but so I'm gonna do this right here. Go on one.
Right there.
Oh.
Right.
So we got a $50 bid. Hold on. See, that's what the auction for now. So you got the $50 bid, and you bid. We have a $70 bid for this authentic, hand-woven Rwandan basket. We have a bid of $70. Anybody else want to bid? Oh, we have a bid up. Oh, we got a bidding war going on. $85 for this authentic pink, green, natural, little gold, little red. Here it is. All right, now we can round this out at $100. Now don't forget the list price on it was $150. It was, so that's still a deal, $100. We got a 130. This right here. If you want an authentic piece of Africa, we got a bid on it. Oh, that's it. We have a bid of 150. Anybody want to beat that bid? Anybody want to take that bid? Come on, going once. Going twice.
Okay.
We have a bid of 160. We topped the list price on this basket. And thank you, brother Hamadu, for Gigi's Bees and Imports, because man, we got 160. This is going once. It's going twice. 180. We showing Mutula love, y'all. That's love for Mutula right there. Come on. And we had to bid at 180. Is there anyone want to top that 180 bid? Say it out loud. Because I don't want to, these lights, are kind of glaring. So I have to kind of squint a little bit to see beyond these lights. So I might miss your hand if you're in the back with your hand in there, say it, speak up, say it loud. You big and black and you proud. So we got a bid of 180, going once, going twice. You got this bid. Wow,
All right.
All right, let's get back to it. We have a couple more items that we have to offer. These are items that I created. These are items that I created for us. Y'all heard her name mentioned here today. This is Queen Mother Moore. This is Queen Mother Moore piece. I took a classic image of her sitting in her home, probably in her study because she's surrounded by books. But I understand that her home was full of books. And she opened her home to young activists, in New York. And, Billy, Max Stanford, Brother Muhammad Ahmad, he was one of the proteges. He's also the founder of Revolutionary Action Movement, RAM, which is an underground kind of organization that's, you rarely hear about today. But they were very instrumental in a lot of organizations' radical turn. But Queen Mother Moore been around. She was from Iberia, Louisiana. And they heard a speech by Darwin. This in the 20s. And they was inspired by Darwin, and they brought Darwin back. But one time they said the police came up in there trying to chase Darwin out. And they say them old folks pulled, and the women included her, and so they pulled out their pills and said, "Speak, Darwin, keep on speaking, don't stop." The police had to leave up out there filming. She was a bad sister. And that was in the 20s. She stayed active all the way through the late 90s. She was there at the Million Man March. I mean, she went through everything. She was a big advocate for reparations. She very powerful sister. Very powerful sister, was involved in a little bit of everything that was happening. She supported her people to the end. But this is from a poem. This guy's a poem, little known poem that she wrote. And this is only a part of the poem. The poem is much longer. But I'm gonna read the poem before I put it out to bid, because I want you to have a full appreciation of what this is. The poem is called What's the hour of the night? And it is dated from July 27, 1950. After 40 years of freedom, our so-called leaders say that the race has made great progress and we face the dawn of day. But the day is not quite dawning. Millions of my people stand pleading at the bars of justice for reparations and land. We're not free in this country, and the truth is the light. So I turn to ask my watchmen, what's the hour of the night? We died fighting for democracy. I admit this to be true, yet countless African men and women have no homes or work to do. If we wish to see the daylight or the rising of the sun, we need our self-determination, our own affairs to run. Since only reparations will put freedom in our sight, let us turn to ask the watchman, what's the hour of the night? What y'all think about that? That was only 2 stanzas out of 6. Y'all want to hear more? Or y'all ready to bid? Come on now, tell me now, y'all want the rest of them, y'all want them to come to your house and read the rest? Somebody want to bid on it? Invite everybody over to read the rest of it at your house? Oh, I don't read the rest, because I don't think y'all excited enough about this piece here. The starting bid on this is going to be $40. No, we're going to start this bid at $30, just to make it spicy. But I'm going to read a little bit more of it. Say, music is an art or science in which African men reign supreme, but the story of our progress is still a vision or a dream. But we have great voices for singing, but we have no voice in court. Imagine being attacked by police dogs just to register and vote. With self-determination, we would have our perfect right. So we turn to ask our watchmen, what's the hour of the night? African men boast of their religion, though I wonder if they should. When you take an inventory, you'll find them not so good. We build thousands of fine churches with the dollars that we give, yet masses of our people have no decent place to live. We say God is our rich father, yet we're always in a tight. Watchmen strike a match and tell me what's the hour of the night. Civil rights laws just for us is proof that we're not free. How can we be fooled to think we had a share in this democracy? When foreigners come here, they're made citizens by choice. Citizenship was imposed upon us. We never had a voice. The passage of the 14th Amendment took away the right, so you better ask your watchman, what's the hour of the night? Time is running out for us, a deadline we must meet to file reparations petitions and make politicians earn their seats. If we're to win this battle, every organization must join the fight. Then we tell the watchman what's the hour of the night.
Everybody want to bid on them? Or you want to see what the next piece is? Another piece here.
You know what? We're gonna have to have.
Okay. All right.
All right, so anyone who's interested in that picture, if you on your way out.
And the bid started at $30, so anybody interested can follow him. Okay, yeah, come on up, Mike. Yeah, we have one more speaker. Where'd he go? Oh, yeah, we have one more speaker. Please don't leave. Please don't leave.
To come up front. Everybody sit back.
Yeah, could y'all all come up front here? We got a good presentation on Black Panther and cultural significance of it, religious and spiritual religious related to the Black Panther. Could you all in the back please come up? Please don't ignore me. Could you all please move up to the front? Please. Could everybody move up to the front? Okay. All right, without further ado, this is a bad historian in our area, and he's been on lots of news shows, commented on a lot of issues that concern our community, and he has a lot of historical knowledge. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Michael Imhotep. Please give him a hand. Everybody, give him a hand.
All right. Thank you, Brother Bomani. How's everybody doing today? All right. All right. Habaragani. Habaragani. All right, now, everybody over at the vendors, please hold down the noise. Do your transactions, hold down the noise. When you get finished, come take a seat right up front. This type of information I'm going to share with you, you're not going to get many other places, okay? All right, so I'm Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, writer, and historian. Now, from right here in Detroit. Now, one of the recurring themes of tonight's presentation, tonight's Kwanzaa presentation, has been reparations, right? That's been a recurring theme. We've heard about Queen Mother Moore. We just heard Brother Kwesi mention reparations a number of times as well, right? All right, the name of this presentation is From Kwanzaa to Wakanda, Kujichagulia, which means self-determination, to repair the damage from a legacy of slavery and racism, okay? And people, please hold down the noise, okay? Please hold down the noise, because this type of information that I'm gonna share with you, you're not gonna get this many other places. And one of the things that inspired this presentation, 2 questions from Brother Bomani, number 1, that he wanted me to talk about. But on November 4th, 2022, I was speaking at a virtual environmental conference, okay, Midwest Decarbonization, a virtual environmental conference, and it was African Americans and Native Americans, and the panel I was on was dealing with reparations. And one of the things I noticed is that Native Americans were talking about having treaties enforced, but the African Americans on the panel were talking about getting a study done. Treaties are the supreme law of the land. Okay, so there's confusion on this. I'm gonna clear up the confusion. All right, now, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world because right knowledge corrects wrong behavior. If you want me to do a presentation for your group or organization, visit my website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. You can also email me, ahnshow@theafricanhistorynetwork.com. All right, now, anytime I do a presentation, I know I may say some things outside the circumference of some people's awareness. Just remember, just because you know everything that you know about what you know does not mean you know everything there is to know about what you know. There's still things that exist outside the circumference of your own awareness. I'm also a radio talk show host on 910 AM Superstation WFDF. Come April 2023, it'll be 7 years. And on Mondays, I'm a contributor on The Culture with Faraji Muhammad on the Black Star Media Network, which is Roland Martin's media network. Mondays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you can download the Black Star Media app to your devices. And then on Fridays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., I'm on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I'm a panelist. I provide historical analysis and political analysis. Okay, now, we talked about Malcolm X tonight as well. In April 4th, 1964, where did Malcolm X deliver the Battle of the Bullet the 3rd time that I know of? Where did he deliver it? Right here, King Solomon Church, right? And one of the things that Malcolm always asked us was, who are you, okay? Who are you? What happened to your history? What happened to your culture? What happened to your language? What happened to your name? What was the method that the white man used to take all this away from you? And this is why we don't know who we are today, okay? And what Kwanzaa helps to do is to teach us our history, reconnect us to our history, reconnect us to our ancestors, reconnect us to our culture so we can move forward, okay? What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you've been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. Another way that I say this is a people's history and culture teaches them how to deal with the problems of the past, in the present, and the future to meet the needs of the community. Now, I encourage everybody to go online and read, not just listen, but read the Ballad of the Bullet. Okay? Now, Malcolm delivered it 3 times that I know of. March 29, 1964, 3 days after he met Dr. King for the first and only time, which was March 26, 1964, at the U.S. Senate debate for the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Then he delivered it April 3rd, 1964, at Corey Methodist Church in Cleveland, Ohio. Then April 4th, 1964, he delivered it here in Detroit. Now, one of the themes of the Ballad of the Bullet that people miss is Malcolm was talking about injecting Black nationalism into the civil rights movement. Because when Malcolm met Dr. King, he told Dr. King he was throwing all of his effort into the heart of the civil rights movement, and Malcolm joins the civil rights movement after he leaves the Nation of Islam. He officially separated March 8, 1964. Okay. You gotta go back and study the Battle of the Bullet, and then also read his speech, his By Any Means Necessary speech, June 28, 1964, where he lays out the 5-point platform for the Organization of Afro-American Unity. And one of them was dealing with politics. Okay, and Malcolm was talking about registering voters to vote, especially in Harlem, as independents. Okay, we got to go back and read that. Go to blackpast.org, blackpast.org, and you can read that entire speech. Okay, and we give honor to this brother, one of my friends, Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book of First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence, because even though we know slavery is part of our history, when you read his book, it's backed up by 713 footnotes and 7 peer-reviewed articles, you'll learn that African people have been in this land we call the United States of America, or what Native Americans call Turtle Island, going back at least 51,700 years. How many people know this? So even though slavery is part of our history, we were here in this land before Europeans, even before Native Americans came into existence. We got to do the research. We have to change the paradigm, okay? Read page 14 of his book, and he lays out 13 different types of evidence that were discovered in Allendale County, South Carolina in 2004 by Dr. Albert Goodyear at the University of South Carolina. Now, today's principle is Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia means self-determination. Kujichagulia is a Kiswahili word, right? And self-determination means to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Now, this is very similar to what power is, and Dr. Wade Nobles correctly taught us that power is the ability to define and shape reality and to have other people accept your definition of reality as if it were their own. Now, this is Dr. Maulana Karenga, who was the co-founder, along with members of Organization US, of Kwanzaa in 1966. And I asked one of my teachers, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, about this, and he confirmed with me there were members of Organization US who were co-founders of Kwanzaa, and it also states that on the official website for the Organization US as well. So we want to include those co-founders in this celebration as well. Now, Kwanzaa was created in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga and members of the Organization US in the midst of the Black freedom movement. It reflects a concern for cultural groundedness in thought and practice. Kwanzaa was created to serve multiple purposes and to address specific problems that African people were dealing with in 1966. Now, Kwanzaa is an African American and Pan-African holiday which celebrates family, community, and culture. FCC, family, community, and culture. It's celebrated December 26th through January the 1st, okay? If you want to celebrate, it's up to you if you want to celebrate Christmas and Kwanzaa, you can do that. If you only want to celebrate Kwanzaa, you can do that also, okay? It's not a religious holiday, it's a cultural holiday. The name Kwanzaa comes from the Kiswahili phrase Matunda ya Kwanzaa, which means first fruits. Now, Kiswahili is the most widely spoken African language, and we also know it's a Bantu language. And then when we look at the word Wakanda, Wakanda is also a Kikongo word as well. That's a Bantu word as well. And Wakanda is also a Native American word. It's in the Omaha, Ponca, and Sioux Indian languages, and it means possesses secret powers, which to me is kind of like black girl magic. I think, you know, somebody said, I saw somebody on social media that said, when God created black women, God was showing off, something like that. I forgot exactly how it went. All right, you can get more information at officialkwanzaawebsite.com. Okay, now, see, that comment deserved a hand clap or something. I don't know. When God created black women, God was showing off. Okay, because I thought I was in the wrong room. I thought I was in the room, you know, the people that want to marry white women. So if I'm in the right room, and this is a Kwanzaa celebration, and we're celebrating African people, and I say when God created black women, God was showing off. Okay? All right, now, what is Pan-Africanism? Because some people hear the term Pan-Africanism and get scared. They think it's anti-Christian or something, or, you know, people ask me, do I have to give up pork to be a Pan-Africanist? I mean, you don't have to, but it helps, okay? Now, Pan-Africanism is an ideology that African people around the world and throughout the diaspora should be united. It deals with the social, cultural, political, economic, material, and spiritual aspects. It does not matter who your colonizer was or who your colonizer is, because some people feel a sense of superiority because their colonizer, they think is better than somebody else's colonizer, right? So it doesn't matter whether your colonizer were the Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the British, they're all colonizers. Okay, this is what I was explaining May 19, 2018, when Meghan Markle married Prince Harry. And there's no disrespect to Meghan Markle. I said she married into a family of colonizers. Not because they're white, because 100 years ago, 1/5 or a little more than 1/5 of the world population lived under British rule. They colonized 1/5 at least of the world population. Okay, now, Pan-Africanism teaches that the fate of African people worldwide is intertwined, and we share not only a common history, but a common destiny. Okay, for more information, read Pan-Africanism for Beginners by Sid LaMail, pages 11 through 13. Read the entire book, but this comes from pages 11 through 13, all right? Now, what are first fruit celebrations? First fruit celebrations have taken place in African history going back to ancient Kemet. Can you say Kemet? Kemet, okay, one of the original names for Egypt, and Ta-Nehisi or Ta-Seti, one of the original names for Nubia, and Nubia is a Greek word. Now, first fruit celebrations occur in ancient and modern African civilizations, such as among the Ashanti of Ghana or the Yoruba of Nigeria. Okay, because a lot of people say, they try to attack Kwanzaa and say, oh, this is some made up stuff. They just made it up in 1966. No, the African cultural festivals that Kwanzaa is based upon are much older than a lot of the European holidays that we've been taught to celebrate from our former colonizers. Okay, we have to deal with this history. Now, we can also find first fruit celebrations in large African empires like the Zulu or Amazulu of South Africa, and smaller societies in southeastern Africa like the Matabele, the Tonga, and the Lebedu. Kwanzaa builds on the 5 fundamental activities of continental African first fruit celebrations: ingathering, reverence, commemoration, recommitment, and celebration. All right, now, for preparation for my Kwanzaa presentations I've been doing for years, I read Dr. Maulana Karenga's book on Kwanzaa, which goes deep into this history and deep into the culture. Read this book, The African American Holiday of Kwanzaa, a celebration of family, community, and culture, by Dr. Maulana Karenga. This comes from pages 16 through 17. Now, what are some more of the African roots of Kwanzaa, right? In Kemet, or ancient Egypt, the festival was called Pert in Men, the coming forth of men, which was seen as a reaffirmation of the harmonious interlocking of the divine, natural, and human, or social. Now, among the Amazulu or the Zulu, it was called Mkosi. Among the Swazi, it was called Inkwala. Among the Matabele, it was called Inkswala. Among the Ashanti of Ghana, it had various names, okay? It may be called Odriwa. Among the Yoruba, various names depending on the region, okay? Like Odun or Ijesu. The Ashanti and Yoruba festivals are usually referred to as the New Yam Festival, which is the time of harvesting of the first yams. Even though these festivals have various names and are from different African societies or nations, they all focus around the harvesting of the first fruits and have similar values and practices. Once again, read The African American Holiday of Kwanzaa, a celebration of family, community, and culture, by Dr. Maulana Karenga. This is just skimming the surface of how deep this celebration is. All right, now, I tell people, now, once again, a lot of people attack Kwanzaa and they say, oh, it's a made-up holiday. But as I explain to people, and I'm a historian, I've studied the history of all these European holidays we've been taught to celebrate. All these holidays are made-up holidays. All these holidays are made-up holidays. First of all, how many people have read the book African People and European Holidays and Mental Genocide by Dr. Shaka Musa Barashango? If you haven't read the book, read this book, book 1 and book 2, because I read both of them. To be able to do my lectures dealing with the origins of these holidays. Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day, Cinco de Mayo, the 4th of July, what they call the 4th of July, Valentine's Day. Those are all made up holidays. All right, now, Bantu Stephen Biko, one of our great South African freedom fighters who was portrayed by Denzel Washington in the movie Cry Freedom in 1987, Bantu Stephen Biko said, the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. So we have to take our minds back. And reclaiming African history and culture helps us to do this. We don't ask permission to take our minds back. We just take it back. Okay, we have to understand this. All right, now, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I saw the movie. I've done a lecture dealing with it. I did a lecture November 19th. It came out November 11th. It's done $800 million worldwide. It's the #1 movie for 5 weeks. And Brother Bomani asked me to address this. There were some people calling for a boycott of it because Ryan Coogler, the director and co-writer, and Joe Robert Cole, his writing partner, and others, they decided not to recast T'Challa. Okay, and then also some people were upset because they made Shuri the Black Panther. First of all, I've done lectures across the country dealing with the first Black Panther film, and I'll be doing lectures probably dealing with the second. All right, to prepare to be able to do my lectures on the Black Panther film, I read over 100 articles dealing with the film and the comic book. I studied the 52-year history of the Black Panther comic book because the first Black Panther film was the 18th film in the Marvel comic universe. And all those stories are interconnected, and you have to understand the Black Panther comic book to understand the movie, all right? So, after Chadwick Boseman died in 2020, and then I heard that they had to rewrite the script to Black Panther because they already, Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole already had a script done, all right? I said that Shuri is going to be the next Black Panther. The reason why is because Shuri becomes the Black Panther in the comic books. There's a period of time when T'Challa in the comic books is ill, and his sister Shuri becomes the Black Panther. Sure enough, I was correct, okay? So, the boycott was ridiculous. The boycott was ridiculous because what Ryan Coogler, Joe Robert Cole, and others, and a lot of the actors, Letitia Wright, things like this, what they were saying is that Chadwick Boseman was irreplaceable. You can't just recast somebody as T'Challa like they did on the Jeffersons, and they brought in another guy to play Lionel Jefferson like nobody would notice. You can't do that. The first Lionel, his name was Mike Evans, okay? Mike Evans was the co-creator of the TV show Good Times, okay? The first Lionel. Then, when Good Times starts, he goes to work on the set of Good Times as a co-writer. They bring in another Lionel named Damon Evans, no relation, okay? They were saying Chadwick Boseman is irreplaceable. So they write into the script him passing away, and Letitia Wright becomes the Black Panther. So you had a lot of people wanting to boycott this. It should be boycotting white supremacy and racism. There are a whole lot of other things that they should be focusing their attention on boycott, okay? Not that, all right? So, now, just very quickly here, now y'all don't have to leave. Y'all leave? Y'all have to leave? Okay, now, very quickly here, I want to address this dealing with the Mesoamerican culture, okay? And I'm going to talk about the Midwest Decarbonization conference that I spoke at dealing with reparations. It was a sister named Marnice Chris Jackson who invited me to speak there, okay? And I really, really appreciate what she did for me. Now, they introduced Prince Namor, who was Latino, okay? And this brought a Mesoamerican culture and history to the movie, okay? Now, Mesoamerican civilization is the complex of indigenous cultures that developed in parts of Mexico and Central America prior to Spanish exploration and conquest in the 16th century. In the organization of its kingdoms and empires, the sophistication of its monuments and cities, and the extent and refinement of its intellectual accomplishments, the Mesoamerican civilization, along with the comparable Andean civilization farther south, constitutes a New World counterpart to those of ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, and China. This comes from Britannica.com. This piece here comes from National Geographic. Now, the historic region of Mesoamerica comprises the modern-day countries of northern Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and central to southern Mexico. For thousands of years, the area was populated by groups such as the Olmec, the Zapotec, the Maya, Toltec, and Aztec peoples. Cultural traits that define the region include the domestication of maize, or corn, beans, avocado, and vanilla, and a common architectural style. One of the themes of the movie is a shared history of colonizers and colonization by Europeans of Mesoamerica and of African people, especially the Spanish. There's a scene where Prince Namor is thinking back when he was a child. Now, Prince Namor is 500 years old, okay? If you understand the Marvel comic universe, he ages very slowly. He's thinking back to when the Spanish came and colonized his people. The Spanish also defeated the African Moors, okay, in Spain, and expelled a lot of the Moors, but also enslaved some of the Moors. And they're going to take African people into those colonies that Columbus conquered on his 4 voyages from 1492 to about 1504. Honduras, Puerto Rico, Hispaniola. The western third of the island of Hispaniola is where Haiti is. That was a Spanish colony before it became a French colony. Jamaica, all those different territories were conquered by Columbus, okay? So one of the themes of the movie is a shared history, and it deals with colonization by Europeans. All right, now, when you come see me at a table in my vendor booth, I'm right next to the door, to the exit door to the parking lot. So you're gonna see me one way or another, okay? So be sure to come to my table. But my presentation, we have a digital download that I did November 19th, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever Analysis, African and Mesoamerican Culture, Shared History. It's on sale $10. Okay, now, Brother Bomani asked me to talk about Stacey Abrams, okay, who ran for governor in Georgia, because there was a rumor that African-American men were not going to support Stacey Abrams. This turned out to be false. African-American men came out overwhelmingly in support for Stacey Abrams. The problem was, so did white people, okay? Now, read this article here for the sake of time from theroot.com, November 9th, 2022. Black men showed up and showed out at the midterm polls. Why are people saying they don't vote? Okay, now this is an excerpt from the article. Black men did vote for Stacey Abrams in overwhelming numbers. Black people made up 28% of voters in the Georgia race, which was comprised of 17% women and 11% men. Of that 11%, of African-American men who voted, 84% of African-American men who voted in Georgia voted for Stacey Abrams. Her loss was not a result of black men not showing up. It was because white people voted for her adversary, Brian Kemp, okay? Interestingly enough, despite the likelihood of Governor Brian Kemp doing further damage to women's reproductive rights, white women supported him at the polls in startling large numbers. African-American men also significantly championed Georgia Senate candidate Raphael Warnock, and not his Republican opponent, Herschel Walker. Read this full article, because they go deep into it, okay, to dispel that myth. All right, now, I want to get to this very quickly here. So I spoke for this environmental conference, and I was on a panel dealing with reparations. We were talking about reparations for Native Americans as well as African Americans, all right? And so these are some of the slides from the actual presentation. And like I said, my sister named Marnice Jackson, you may have heard her on, had on the African History Network show on the 9 AM Superstation talking about the conference. And I really did a lot of preparation to prepare for this. When people ask me to speak for them, I take it very seriously, so I did a lot of research. So these are some of the slides I shared. I cited the study from the California Reparations Task Force they released in June, I think it was June or July 2022. Read this article right here from the Washington Post, WashingtonPost.com. California calls for comprehensive reparations for Black Americans. Now, this is something that I've talked about before, and I talked about in Roland Martin Unfiltered. Before you can make recommendations for reparations, you first have to properly assess the damage that was done, okay? Unfortunately, people are trying to start assessing the damage once African people are enslaved. The root concept of reparations means to repair damage that was done, to make you whole again, to restore you to a state before the damage was done. As a historian, you first have to analyze who African people were and what African people had before the damage was done. You can't start the analysis with us enslaved. We were stripped of our history, culture, language, spiritual systems, land, nationality, family ties, folklore, mores, all of that, generally speaking, okay? And then put into an institution that dehumanized us and put us into a category of chattel. So you can't start the analysis with us enslaved. You have to study who African people were before we were put into that institution. All right, now, this is what the California Reparations Task Force is doing with the 500-page study that they released June 1st, 2022. Now, this study, I've read excerpts of this study. This study is the most comprehensive study on African Americans since the March 1968 Kernel Commission report was released. All right, now, the report, which was released Wednesday, offers a comprehensive look at the impacts of enslavement and generations of discrimination on Black Californians and Black Americans more broadly. It finds that the damage to Black communities is extensive and that a variety of intentionally crafted policy, judicial decisions, and racism by private actors has created a widespread exclusion of Black people that has not been sufficiently addressed at any level of the government. For almost 150, this is an excerpt from the report, almost 150 years of active, conscious federal, state, and local government action and neglect of duty have resulted in compounded harms that are unique to Black Americans, the authors wrote in a draft review by NBC News prior to its release. The California report covers not just the immediate impact of enslavement, 246 years, but even more importantly than that, but also the harms of decades of political neglect, finding that there have been sustained damage to generations of Black Americans. The damage has had a lasting effect on the political, economic, social, physical, mental, and cultural well-being of Black people, particularly those descended from the formerly enslaved. Okay, read the rest of this. For the sake of time, this is what I got to get to. This is extremely important right here. Attorney Demario Solomon Simmons has been working with Representative Maxine Waters to get the Black Freedmen Indian treaties of 1866 enforced. Okay, a lot of people don't know this. I talked about this on the African History Network show. Descendants of Black freedmen enslaved by Native Americans in the 1800s seek tribal citizenship. Representative Maxine Waters tries to help. Now, read this article here from thegrill.com. This is an excerpt of it, okay? The name of this article, Maxine Waters leads push to get justice for Black Native Americans. This is from October 13, 2021. Now, a dispute between Black members of indigenous tribes and the federal government is part of a history that is now being exposed on Capitol Hill. Now, you know, thegrill.com is owned by Byron Allen, right? That's a very, very important African-American owned and operated media news source. Congresswoman Maxine Waters is calling out Native American tribes who held Black slaves and continue to discriminate against Black Native Americans. How many people have heard about this? Okay. Descendants of those enslaved by the hands of Native Americans show the 5 civilized tribes of Native Americans, the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians. This is not an attack on them because I got Cherokee in my family on my mother's side because her family's from Tennessee. Okay, we got Cherokee and Blackfoot on my mother's side of the family. Okay, descendants of those enslaved by the hands of Native American tribes may get a slice of justice through access to Native American federal subsidies that had previously been denied to them. The California Congresswoman Maxine Waters is seeking to get 5 tribes to comply with their 1866 treaty obligations. That's the Black Freedmen Indian Treaties of 1866 that recognize Black Native American freedmen and their descendants as full citizens of their tribes, therefore making them entitled to all of the rights afforded to any other citizens of the tribe. Now, these treaties played a part in the foundation of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and what we would call Black Wall Street. Because Tulsa, Oklahoma was founded by Creek Indians around 1834 who got pushed off their land in the southeast United States because of the Indian Removal Act of 1830. And when they go into Oklahoma, they take their African slaves with them. The Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, and Seminole Indians, they go over 1,000 miles on the Trail of Tears. They take their African slaves with them, and about a third of the people on the Trail of Tears were African people. We're not taught this history in schools. And then they go into Oklahoma, and Tulsa comes from the Creek Indian word Tallahassee, okay? And a lot of the early African-American landowners in Tulsa, Oklahoma got land from these Indian treaties. But we're not taught this history. Now, these treaties are still on the books today, and the 5 civilized tribes of Native Americans are still benefiting from them. But many of our ancestors got pushed out of these treaties in 1941 when the U.S. government conspired with the 5 civilized tribes of Native Americans to redefine what a Native American is. And they said you have to have 1/4 or 1 quantum Native American blood, but the original treaties did not state that. Many of our ancestors got land from these treaties, like Sarah Rector, who became the richest Afro-American girl in the country because her family was a former Creek slave ancestor, okay? Now, Representative Maxine Waters tells thegrio.com that the Cherokee had 2,511 slaves, 15% of the total population. The Choctaw had 2,349. The Creek Indians had 1,532. The Chickasaw had 975, and the Seminole had 200 slaves. Now, much of the dispute between Black members of the indigenous tribes and the federal government is part of a history that is now being exposed on Capitol Hill. Tulsa, Oklahoma rose to national notoriety in 2021 as the nation commemorated the century-old massacre that destroyed 40 blocks of Black wealth, commonly known as Black Wall Street. Now, we rebuilt North Tulsa. We rebuilt Black Wall Street after the Tulsa Race Massacre. How many people know this? We rebuilt it after the Tulsa Race Massacre with our own dollars. We did not get government help. We got help from the surrounding 50+ Black townships in Tulsa. Tulsa had probably more Black townships than any other state. A lot of that had to do with the Black Freedmen Indian Treaties of 1866. But now Representative Maxine Waters is leading efforts to get the descendants of Black enslaved people, the Native American reservations across Oklahoma and western states their due. The chairwoman and House Financial Services Committee Democrats have been fighting for the treaty rights of freedmen descendants since at least 2008. Okay, now many of these tribes forced their enslaved along the famous Trail of Tears. Okay, read the rest of this article here. Now, lastly, I'm gonna wrap up with this. Read this article right here from history.com. Now, this is what white people are telling. History.com. This is the official website of the History Channel. The History Channel you see on cable. This is an article from the History Channel. Name of this article: 9 entrepreneurs who helped build Tulsa's Black Wall Street. They talked to Hannibal B. Johnson. Hannibal B. Johnson is one of the top authorities on the history of Tulsa and the history of Black Wall Street. And I read his first book on Black Wall Street, Black Wall Street from Renaissance, from riot to Renaissance. And that was one of my sources for a lecture I did on Black Wall Street back in 2014. Here's what Hannibal B. Johnson said, quote, "The relative wealth of some Black folks in Oklahoma comes in part through their connection to these Native American tribes and their land ownership." Okay, this is his new book that came out in 2021, Black Wall Street 100, and American City Grapples with this historical racial trauma. The Dawes Act, the Dawes Allotment Act of 1887, which redistributed 138 million acres of land. That was, majority of it was supposed to go to Native Americans and Black Indians. White people got 2/3 of it, but we did get some land from the Dawes Allotment Act. The Dawes Act of 1887 authorized the government to divide tribal territories into allotments for individual Native Americans, which included Black members. As word spread that Indian Territory was a safe place for African Americans to settle, between 1865 and 1920, more than 50 black townships were founded in Oklahoma. Okay, now read that full article. A lot of the early African American landowners in Tulsa got land from those treaties. And I hear people talking about doing another Black Wall Street, things like this, but they don't go back to find out how this first one really happened. These treaties are still on the books, okay? And there was a piece from the New York Times. I don't know if I put it in here for the sake of time, but there was a piece from the New York Times that deals with the Black Indian treaties as well. And they said they identified about 160,000 African Americans who were qualified for these treaties. This is where we really should start the effort. I'm all for studies, okay? But there's no benefits tied to the study. And like I said, I was on this panel discussion with Native Americans, and they're talking about enforcing treaties. Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution tells you that the U.S. Constitution, all the previous treaties and all the subsequent treaties are the supreme law of the land. The African Americans on the panel were talking about getting a study done. Something's wrong. This is low-hanging fruit. This is where we really need to start and take that study that California did. We all need to research that. That's the deep study that they came out with. You can use that as a foundation of a study as well on a national basis. All right, look, that's my time. Be sure to come back and visit my table in the back. Okay, we've got a 15 lecture bundle pack in digital download format. 15 of my lectures on sale for $50. We have it in DVD format as well. That's $100. We got details in the back. You can register for my online history classes that I teach as well. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'aka, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That's on sale, $60. We do the sessions live. All the sessions are archived and recorded. A year from now, 2 years from now, you can go back and watch the entire course. We have details at my table. And then the second class I teach, I do this on Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. From the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement and Black Power, 1865 to 1968. I want to thank you for your attention. Imhotep, Asante Sana, Wakanda forever. Peace. Where's Shoshana? Because that was 35 minutes. That's how you do a presentation. That was 35 minutes, Shoshana. We dealt with policy, we dealt with all that, and got that done in 35 minutes. All right, everybody, peace. Now, who's up next? Somebody come take the mic from me. I'm a talk show host. You gotta take the mic from me. Don't leave a mic in my hand. All right, give Brother Bomani and Sister Shoshana a round of applause. They did a lot of work. We got Tamarian martial arts. We got the son of Kalindi Iyi here. Okay? Give them a round of applause. They're gonna show you some African martial arts. Martial arts didn't start with Bruce Lee, it started in Africa.
All right, so hopefully we'll stay to the end. We always have a lot of stuff going on here in Malcolm X grassroots movement. So we want to give everybody they do. Give another round of applause for Vice Imhotep. You found out a lot of stuff, didn't you? Gave you a lot of information. Check out his table back in the back. He has a lot of good information for us. We're sorely lacking in our history. Sorely lacking. Y'all ready?
All right, peace, everybody. How everybody doing tonight? All right, good. I'm glad, appreciate y'all for coming out. I'm Jason from the Tamarian Institute. I've been with the Tamarian Institute for roughly 21 years. It's the first martial arts I ever did, and the reason that I got into the martial arts in the first place is because I was in the New Black Panthers chapter, Detroit chapter, with Khalid Muhammad. So after he passed away, Baba Kalindi took us in, and that's how we, furthered our fight for our revolution. So today I got my brother with me. That's the son of Ahafsa Kalindi. We are one of the few African martial science schools in the United States, which means we don't do Asian martial arts with African principles. We do African martial arts with African principles. Okay? So for y'all, just so y'all know, we are the warriors of the community. We decided to be that for y'all. We are the ministers of information for protection, defense, and everything else. So we're here for y'all when y'all need us. Just so y'all know, we didn't go nowhere. We still here rocking it out. All right? So we're gonna do a quick demonstration. Let's get it. Okay. Yeah. All right, well, since nobody came up, I just want to say one thing. I'm out of breath. All right, y'all, look, realize this. We don't have the 3 African-centered schools we had. We don't have those centers no more. It's all on us. So think about it. After those schools closed, those was the last children to know what we had. So it's up to us now to have more stuff like this, organized, because the community that we got, that's it. It's not like it's growing. All right, I just want to let y'all know.
All right, thank you. Want to go down for this? Let's go get out here.
All right. Well, no, we want to thank everybody for coming out and celebrating Kwanzaa Kwanzaa with us with the Black Legacy Coalition and the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement. And Ashe, we'll give it up. And don't forget to support our vendors that came out too if you didn't get a chance to visit them. So I'm gonna ask everybody to stand and we're gonna close out, do some Harambes. I say we're gonna pull it down. You know, Harambe means to pull together. And in the spirit of Kwanzaa, the spirit of Kujichagulia, that's what we have to do as a community, pull it together, right? All of us working in unity. Also, don't forget to support Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who was just released from prison after 36 years. I said you can go to his website if you want to donate, MutuluSupport.com. Again, that's MutuluSupport.com. If you want more information on the Malcolm X Grassroots Movement, you can find us on Facebook, Malcolm X Grassroots Movement Detroit, or our website, freethelandmxgm.org. .org. I said, so everybody right hand up. We're going to do Harambe 7 times. Ready? Harambe! 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 Everybody.
Come back tomorrow.
Yes, come back tomorrow.
Come back.
Sorry. Oh, somebody left some car keys or lost some car keys. Next to a Mercury. Does anybody drive a Mercury? Might have lost some car keys. Yeah, I guess we probably promote it like that. Yeah, I think I did it was good. Yeah, actually, well, how did you get up to like 8 miles? Alright, I'm down low.
Yeah, actually, I forgot. Yes, I was trying to do sorry to put it in the store. Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. That's you got the phone. You guys move on? You got some little stuff to finish the phone off.
All right, everybody, that's gonna do it. I was over there. Let's see. I'll turn this around. Hold on. Stand by. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. All right, that's gonna do it for us. And I was over there because people were coming to my vendor booth. Hey, we got to get out of here. Visit our website, theafricanhistorynetwork.com, theafricanhistorynetwork.com. Hope you enjoyed my presentation. I will have that in an extended format with additional information, and we'll have that on sale at our website, africanhistorynetwork.com, in DVD and digital download format. Right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.